Hello everyone, it's Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie, and today we're going to work on a fun scrapbook book page. My husband and I recently went to a ZZ Top concert for our anniversary, and I wanted to make a page to reflect that. And so I thought, you know, we'll just work with some different papers. I've got these two papers are both from Stampin' Up's Rock and Roll Designer Series paper. As you can see, it's the same paper, just flipped over. And then I have a piece from Heidi Swapp Sun Chaser. This is just a chunk that I had left from something else that I had done. And I want to use some of this color because I think it'll be a nice background. But I'm going to put it all onto just a piece of white cardstock. So this will probably be a little bit thick for a scrapbook page, but it's what I'm going to do anyway. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down this piece of paper into a couple of strips. Probably, I'm going to say, since, you know, it's a 12 by 12 scrapbook, I think I'll do these both at 5. So they're going to be 5 by 12. And there'll be, like, you know, obviously an inch left over that I can use for something else sometime, or maybe on this page somewhere. I don't know. Let's just go ahead and get that one cut. I was going to score it instead of cut it, and that would not have done us any good. All right. And then I'm going to take this piece of Sun Chaser, and I want to get some of this pink, but I don't want all pink. So maybe I'm just going to take a chunk from the actual center of it. I think that'll be good because I think it'll go good with some of these photos that have that kind of pinkish look to them. Because, you know, when you're at a concert and you're taking photos with your phone like I do, because I'm not going to carry a camera around, they're going to have a little bit different shade to them than you want. So I'm just going to take maybe about 2.5 inches off this piece, and then I'm just going to set this piece aside because I'm not going to use that today. I'll save it for something else. And then we'll make this piece, let's go 4. So then we've got some of that pink in there, and the yellows and the blues, and they're kind of all blended together, which I think is fantastic. And that's going to kind of go middle, around top, something like that. Let me just decide which way to set this here. I'm going to try not to move that around too much. And then this piece will go over this. So it'll be kind of like this. Now what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm just going to rip it so it has a rough edge. And I don't want to take too much off because I still want it to, because it's going to kind of go over this. But then we're going to use some new ink that I have to go over the edge of that, which it's new to me, but I don't know how long it's actually been out. But like I said, it's new to me. And it's this Lisa Horton Interference ink. And the color is Milk Chocolate Roses and Shimmer. Now, the fun thing about this ink is, and I will show you in just a second. Let me grab, I have a piece of white and black cardstock here somewhere. Set these aside just a little bit. So if you use the ink on black, you get that rosy color, that shimmery rosy color, as you can see up there. And then if you use it on white, you get that milk chocolate shimmery color. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I got a tickle in my throat. Perfect, just when we're getting started. Get a drink of water. Hopefully that'll go away. But we're going to use that on the edges of this paper. So maybe it'll give it a little bit of that, excuse me, milk chocolate shimmer. And that rosy shimmer. Now we're going to do the same with this piece of paper, and then we'll also do the same. We'll go over it a little bit. And again, don't want to take too much off, but just enough so that we can layer these so we've got a little bit of texture to both of those. All right, let's start with this one. Grab that ink, grab a brush, or if you wanted to use a sponge, you could, but I like the way it works with a brush. And it really is picking up that milk chocolate shimmer on that white edge, which I love. And you can do it as heavy or as light as you want. It does not have to be all the same all the way across. But look how pretty that looks now that it's got that little bit of shimmer to that edge. Love it. And let's do the same with this one. And I can see, I'm not sure if you can see from where you're at, how some of this looks pink and some of it looks that milk chocolate color. And I always like to kind of start just a little bit off the edge of the paper I'm working on. I want that a little bit darker on that white. So like I said, just go over it as many times as you want if you're going to try this technique. There we go. That's a little bit darker. Let's do that. And somehow I got it really dark on this end and not as dark on this end. But that's all right. Just bring a little bit of that, rub that brush off on there, so maybe we'll get a little bit of pink shimmer on there too. Love it. So if you haven't bought these inks and you want to try them, they're fantastic. I love them. This is my first time using them on a scrapbook page, but I just love that extra little look that it gives everything. All right, let's go ahead and adhere some of this down. And I don't want to use this across the whole entire back of that paper, so I'll just put some glue on there too. But I want to make sure, I'm gonna have to stand up to make sure I get this around the corner just right, or on the corners just right. Perfect. I got a little bit of adhesive hanging over here, but we'll just fold it under. I can cut it off later, not a big deal. And then we'll get this one on, and I won't even use any of that adhesive on this. I'm just going to use glue. I should have done that on the first piece, but obviously I didn't. Because the good thing about using just the glue like that is you can decide how far up you want to move it. You can still move it around a little bit if you need to. Perfect. And this one I'll make sure I line up again on that bottom edge to make sure I've got it straight. And then there, that'll be my background for this sheet, which I think is perfect. Love it. As you can see, my photos will go great with those colors. And I've already lined my photos with some black cardstock because I just always like to do that. I like the way it looks. It just turns out nice. And then I have a couple of guitars that I've already pre-stamped and cut out, but I haven't colored yet. And I'm going to color those so we can put those on the page somewhere. And that was using the Rockstar stamp from Stampin' Up. So I'll just move those over, grab a couple of alcohol markers, and I'm going to use Soft Suede Light and Gray Granite Dark. And the reason I'm using these is the guitars that they played for a good portion of the night, I'm not going to say the entire night, were a gray color, and they had what looked to be that they had worn the paint off from them. But I can't say for sure because I wasn't quite close enough to know that. You'd have to really be up on it to know that for sure. So that's where the soft suede comes in, because that's going to look like where the paint's been worn off and it's just the wood. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to do a little bit around these edges in a couple of spots. And then I will color over them again with that gray granite to blend them. So it just kind of blends in a little bit. I'm going to make this outside part darker than this inside part of the guitar. Super easy, just keep going over it with that gray granite. And this is the gray granite dark that I'm using. Now I could have used a separate gray granite light and colored in on that center part of the guitar, but I figured this was just easier. One less marker to have to get out and just use it once instead of you know, getting two markers out and doing it. All right, once you've blended that in, just take that writing tip and just put some dots, a couple of little dots here and there around those areas. And it's not perfect. It just looks like a little bit of the paint has worn off the guitar in those areas maybe, or just looks like a design on the guitar, I guess. But I thought it was super simple, super easy, and it just gave them a little something. Now I don't know where I want to put these on the page yet, but for now at least they're done, and we can just set them right here until we're ready to get started. The next thing I wanted to do was use some tags. And I was going to use white tags. And then I remembered I have this tag pad that I got from Heidi Swapp with this craft paper, and I thought they would be perfect. I added my own little reinforcer hole sticker on these, and I'm going to need 4 of them. But I'm going to show you again how I make those myself, so you don't have to buy a bunch of different ones. If you have just like a 1/2-inch circle punch, you can use that, and just a paper hole punch, and just try to match the hole as closely as you can to the hole that's on the tag you're using. So we'll just punch a hole in that black, because you can use any color. This one I decided to use black because it would match that layout, and then go over top with that larger circle punch, that 1/2-inch punch, and then you've got yourself reinforcer, paper reinforcer. Now the only thing about these tags sometimes is when you rip them off, you have a little bit of adhesive left on the top of the tag, so just kind of scrape that off once you've gotten it on there. Take a little bit of glue, just go around that hole on the tag. Don't need a lot, just a tiny little strip is perfect. And then you can put that reinforcer right over, and then bam, done. Right? Love that. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to line the tags up or kind of stagger them maybe a little bit, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure where I'm putting the guitars yet either. We're just kind of winging some of this. We're not doing it all design first. I'm just trying to go through this process with you. And hopefully we will get a cute page when we're done. So we've got the tags. I'm not going to attach my photos to any of the tags yet. I'm just going to leave that for a later time. But I've got a couple of these tickets, which of course we had mobile tickets. So those were all, you know, on our phone. And I thought, well, I'll just print those out later. Well, once you use them, eventually they go off your phone and you don't have them anymore. So I just have these simple tickets that like you can buy at Staples or wherever that people use for raffles and such. And I just had some of those. So we're going to go over those with this ink to make them look better than just plain white. We'll use those somewhere on our page just to give it a little bit of interest. Now, one of the main other things I want to do, maybe with these tickets, is use a stencil and that same ink. I really love that ink, and so we're going to use it a lot on this page, obviously. And it is a Tim Holtz stencil, and it is called Speckles. Now, it's a layering stencil, so you can layer other stencils over it, or layer this one over another stencil, meaning do one stencil and then do the other one, not layer them at the same time, because that way you can do different colors if you want. But I thought it would give a little bit of interest to these tags to use this stencil on them. And again, we're going to use that Cloud 9 interference ink. And this is one of my favorite stencils. I haven't used it a lot, but I've used it enough to know that it just, everything that I use it on turns out really good. And it gives it that little fancy speckle, which I really like. And I kind of moved the stencil on that one a little bit, so it's a little more, a couple of them are a little messier than I planned, but that's all right. It's just speckles. It's not a solid image that needs to be perfect. Look at that. Aren't those great? And then you can see where it went over that black on that enforcer circle or reinforcer circle. And it looks pink on there. Love it. Do the same with this one, and then get our last one done, and we'll be ready to hopefully start putting this page together a little bit. And you could do this with any other kind of ink too. It doesn't have to be this Cloud 9 interference ink, but I thought it was a fun one to show because it really makes everything look just a little bit more interesting than regular ink, because it's got that sparkle to it. And I love that it shows up different on white and black. So we'll just set that right there and get that out of the way. Now for your stencil, normally when I get done, I would just take it and wash it with some warm soap and water. But since we're sitting here doing a video, I'm just going to use a baby wipe on it to wipe that off for now. And then I will wash it with some warm soap and water, and that should take most of that off. But you know, these things get stained too, just like your stamps, so don't freak out about it. Not a huge deal. All right. So now we got our tickets, we've got our guitars, we have our tags. And I'm kind of thinking like the guitars, not the guitars, I'm sorry, the tickets. I have this cute little camera, but I don't know if it really matches anything, so I don't think we're going to use that. Have these little exhibit stickers. I have this, though, which I think is great, this little film strip stamp. And this is, let me see if this is Studio Calico. Yeah, this is from Studio Calico. I just kind of like that film strip. So let's see. If that would look good anywhere, or if it's just going to look out of place. Oh, I don't know. It kind of might look out of place from everything else that we're putting on here. So let's hold off on that one. I got it out because I wasn't sure if I wanted to use it or not. Let's start, I guess, then with the title, because I'm just going to put ZZ Top at the top of this. And these are some stickers from Heidi Swapp. They're called Happy Day. And because they're that black and white, I thought they would be perfect for this. And I kind of want them to be straight. I don't want them on an angle. So maybe I should lay a ruler across here just to make sure I keep it somewhat straight, because it's probably not going to be 100% straight, but if I can keep it somewhat straight, that would be amazing. Look at that one's already crooked, so we're just going with it, everybody. We're just going with it. But it does help a little bit doing that. I need an O. Perfect. Now it's a little off center, and that's okay, because maybe that will help when I can throw one of my guitars over here. I'm not going to glue that down yet, but we'll just set it there until we're ready to start putting things on here. Just kind of put these on a little bit of an angle, maybe just across the center. And then I want to stamp. I got this other Stampin' Up stamp set. It's retired now, but it's got this for the record, and I think that's just a cute saying. And I'm going to stamp that and then cut the words out. And then we'll put that on there somewhere. Let's grab another block. We'll just stamp it in just black Memento ink. And should I do white, or maybe let's do it on a piece of this. That extra piece that we have left, just make sure it's good and inked up. Let's just stamp it on there. We'll go for a little bit of this blue because we don't have a lot of that color on here. Perfect. Love that. So we got that. Let's grab the paper trimmer real quick just so I don't end up trimming it crooked. Easier so you can see where I'm at with this. So we've got record. And I just messed it up because I moved that. Oh, we're gonna start again. Holy moly, sorry guys. Don't mean to take up more of your day than you planned with my silly mistakes. Do that at the top. Perfect. Just keep it at the bottom like I started the first time. That would be the smarter thing to do. Sometimes I just go off script a little bit, don't I? Apologize. I hope you're having a fantastic day though. And I hope you are getting some ideas. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of those so those can be puffed up just a little bit. Get our tags for the center. Oops. Yeah, it needs to go this way, I think, right there. We've got our the record down here. We're gonna have a couple of tickets. Maybe we'll put those in the corner. We can put our other guitar this way. The guitar actually looks good straight up and down too. But I'm trying to figure out what to do there since I had that a little bit crooked or a little bit uncentered, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's add our tickets right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a tiny bit of adhesive on the back of those. Just so they don't move all over. Go ahead and put our guitar down. There's a little fruit fly trying to get me right now, so if I'm swatting at something, you know what I'm trying to get. And what I like about Stampin' and cutting out these little words like this is it just gives you a little bit of freedom with where to place them, so it doesn't have to just be one thing straight across like how it is in the stamp. We got that. We've got this piece, which I may use some of this to make something where I can put my journaling for this. That would be good. To think I also have a piece of map that we're going to add because we saw them in Tallahassee, Florida. We live in Florida, so let's just take a piece of this map, and right here is Tallahassee. And since that's where we saw them, I thought I would punch it out like on a, I'll do it right here on a 1-inch circle punch. And then that can be added to our little piece over here. Just put a little bit of adhesive on that, stick it in there, stick it down. And then it's got the location. I think that's kind of cute. I had the camera, but I do not want to use the camera. I do want to use maybe a couple of stamps from Love This Moment. And that may be just Stampin'. I got these little arrows here, which I think are cute. We'll just do a couple on this side. Just adds a little something. There is a tiny little camera stamp in here, so maybe we'll use that somewhere. Got that little camera. We've got Smile and Happy, You and Me, which that You and Me one will be perfect for whichever one I decide to put my husband and I on, which will probably be this one over here, I think. So we'll stamp that You and Me on there. And again, I'll use that Memento ink for that. So that'll be on that one. Got all these other cute sayings. It's got memories, this picture, this moment. Let's find memories. There's memories. We could stamp that one somewhere. I'm just going to use my black on both sides here. We'll just put memories right there. That's why these kind of will be coming down just a little bit. We're going to put that guitar up there. We're going to stamp this little camera somewhere. Let me grab a tiny block. Now, this would be cute. Actually, this would be cute done on this. Let me find that other sheet of paper with some of this yellow color. I'm going to stamp that camera. And I will punch that out just with the 1/2-inch circle because it's like literally the size of that camera. That can kind of go up there. With that, we've got a heart on here. Of course, we need a heart. Why not? We can always use a heart. And we'll do this on the little blue. Get that camera off. And I'll do the same. I'll punch it out with that 1/2-inch circle. And then we can just use some dimensionals on the back of those. And those can be put up at the top there. And it will be perfect. Let me see what else we got. They got those little arrows. Oh, look, there's the little map marker. So let's do that. Probably should have done that before I stuck that down, right? Let's go ahead and do it on here and cut it out. And then we'll add it. Let's see what it looks like punched out first before I actually just cut it out. That'll be cute. We'll put a little mini dimensional on the back of that and pop it up on that map piece. Perfect, love it. All right, what else in this stamp set do we have? We have some lightning bolts. We have the drumstick and the microphone. Maybe I put the microphone on a block earlier because I thought about adding it somewhere here. And that might actually be cute. Popping up in between the tags. We're going to try it and see what happens. I'm not going to put ink on the whole thing. I'm not going to do this little bottom section because I don't want it stamping on here. We're just going to want it stamping just above that. Perfect. I did pretty good on that. I'm pretty proud of myself, I'm going to say. All right, got that on there. Love that little microphone because their microphones were kind of fantastic. I loved the microphones they were using. And I know that sounds silly to say, but they were really, really neat. So if you ever get a chance to see ZZ Top in person, I highly recommend it. They were fantastic. All right, we've got the You and Me done. We can put that back over here on the stamp case and get it out of my way. Put some dimensionals on the back of these two little pieces that I've got stamped here. Oh, I'm looking for the mini dimensionals and they're literally right underneath my hand. Perfect. Hope that guitar looks okay that way. I feel like it's upside down, like it's not, definitely not the right way for sure. But if I do it that, maybe we'll just do it like that. We've got our camera, we've got our little heart. I love these exhibit stickers. They just are fun. Let's color one of those with this ink. Of course, I got a little bit on the other one, but that's what happens when you've got add that to the page there. That's so fun. Love it. I've got some washi tape we can add. And I still have not stuck down any of my tags yet, just because. I'm trying to rip it on an angle and it's just ripping straight, which is a little irritating when you're trying to do it on an angle. We'll just cut it. That will be easier. That way we've got one end of it will be underneath that guitar, one end will be sticking out. I'm just going to set those aside for now so I don't knock them off and lose them. some other yellow stripe. Maybe we'll use that. We'll add in a little bit of extra. We can put some gold on there too, just for fun. We can use some down at the bottom as well. Now this one worked as far as making a jagged edge, so we'll go with that right there. Put some of this down at the bottom. Right by that for the record. Perfect. We'll rip a small piece of this too. Maybe we'll stick that one up there. And since I did not adhere the top of those tickets down, it can go under the edge of that ticket. And then this lovely gold, just because we've already got some sparkle going on, we might as well add some more. Fun. Put a little piece down here, because obviously we've got a little bit more going on at the bottom, and that's okay. I can always add things later if I decide it needs more. What did I do? There it is. I'm like, where's my adhesive? And I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom of that so the whole thing is not stuck down. Put our little camera, our little heart. All right, let's see. There. I think that is how it's going to be for now, unless I decide there's something else fun that I want to do. But I think it looks pretty good, except maybe some ribbon on those tags. Let's see what ribbon would look good with those tags. Got an awesome yellow crinkle, and since we've got some yellowish gold colors going on, I think that would be perfect. And we don't have to have like huge pieces of it, just so each one has a little bit. I'm just gonna, it's not very long, but I'm just gonna do a little tie on each one, just so they have their own little thing here. And the fact that they're not all exactly the same length is good. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed working your way through this with me. I might trim the ends of this ribbon just a little bit so they have a little angle on them and they look cute. And then I'll take a little bit of length off a couple of those that look a little scraggly. Of course, this one's gonna fight me on it. That one's a little off too. Let's fix it. There we go. Perfect. And this is the shorter one, so it's going to be a little harder to cut, but I got it. I got it. Now I do have this stamp in here that I can use to make for some journaling, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want on the bottom yet for journaling. So I'm going to hold off on that, and I'm just going to leave this as is for today. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you have fun making your own scrapbook pages. Take care. Bye.